Yeah, here at Renegade, I've been here 18 months or something now, and yeah, the gym's incredible to train at. Obviously, you've got the highest level of fighters here. You've got UFC champions, UFC contenders, Bellator contenders. It's a mat that it'd be harder to turn up here and not get better. That'd be the challenge, you know, with the coaches and the people that are surrounding you. And in an environment where everybody's on the same mission, yeah, man, it's just a great place for growth, and super thankful to be here and being on the journey with the people that I am, yeah. I've kind of travelled and trained all around the world, but originally I'm from Grimsby, a little town up north, and started over there. Kind of started about 18 years ago or something. And I actually had an MMA fight all the way back then, back when the rule sets and everything were a bit more of the Wild West days back then. And then got into kickboxing, found a passion for that, but always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to transition into MMA. So my style kind of replicated that. I would never adopt a singular style because I always knew that I wanted to be able to transition. But yeah, I started kickboxing, and again, I was in Grimsby. Then I travelled to London and trained and ran a gym in there for about 10 years or something. And then I travelled to the States, to over in Asia, in Thailand, in Bali, and yeah, trained all around the world, gathering training, knowledge from different trainers all over, yeah, and now I'm in Birmingham with the team here at Renegade.
Super simple. Jab to low kick, see I'm getting off my centre line, going to my quarter angle, same thing here. I'm crossing. My intention with the cross is to keep that open for me. Cross and step. I'm doing the same thing with my backhand, right? I jab, my backhand jams, I'm stepping off. I cross, my lead hand jams, I'm stepping off. Make sense? Let's go. Time it.
So I'm super excited to be part of the PFL. I think it's the way that it's growing and it's exploding is great, and you've got superstars signing over there. But I enjoy the actual platform of the tournaments and understanding a schedule and something to work through in that sense, as opposed to just random dates. Having like a league of people that you're going to be fighting and all battling for the same thing. I really enjoy the aspects of that, and I'm excited to go into that. And activity is something that I've always enjoyed. In kickboxing, we sometimes would have fights. Like I had 2 professional title fights within 2 weeks of each other. So I'm used to activity and going, and I think that's what keeps everything sharp. So the tournament aspect, I'm used to it. I've done amateur world title tournaments around the world where you'll have 4 fights in a night. So I really enjoy the activity side of it, and I'm excited to be on the global platform. And I'm not just here to be a token striker, you know. That's why I've forced myself to move to a place like this, because I'm looking to replicate it and be a world champion here and be complete everywhere. So yeah, I'm excited to be on this world stage and show what I'm capable of and chase the titles, you know, and go from there.
Just to clarify these low kicks, I said this on Saturday, if I'm coming to the top part, I'm coming down. If I'm coming into it this way, I have a risk of sliding up his leg into a kick catch. I have a risk of keeping my hips square and being bowled over. And I'm hitting a flat target like this. It doesn't make sense. I want to be perpendicular to the target all the time. So I'm always paying attention to the surface that I'm landing on. If I'm coming to the inside leg, I'm coming up, because there's no point in me coming down into a shin or into the top of his leg. What I'm aiming for in that low kick is right there, right with that hamstring connected to the back of his knee. Dead and that shit, game over. Here and here, yes? If I'm against somebody in the opposite stance, same principle. My jab covers my low kick, but my low kick's now not coming down unless I'm getting right off to this angle. What my intention is to take that leg with me as I move. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to guard this, and I'm going to kick with my toes facing up, so I'm going to sweep that leg away. Does that make sense? If I'm in the opposite stance, I'm coming back with my low kick, I can still come down, but I can also come up into the calf. Yes, you've got 2 options if you're fighting someone of an opposite stance. Does that make sense? Any questions? Yeah? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I've fought on big arenas with big promotions in kickboxing. And again, when I would channel understanding the mental side of it all, like big stages and stuff to me is just an illusion, you know? If we was to have a fight in the cage here, all that's happening is we're picking it up and putting it in a different environment. The act still stays the same. So that's what I understand. So irregardless of how big the arena is outside, I'm only gonna feed and grow when I come inside the cage. I'm never gonna let that consume me, because to me it just isn't anything, you know? Like if you build into it, it can swallow you, and you'll see that a lot. Like, but to me it's a single act, regardless of what's going on outside. So I think understanding those mental components, being there and done it before, yeah, bring me the big stage. I love pressure, you know. The biggest fights, the biggest stages. I'm switched into it. I'm ready for it. Yeah, 100%. And goals always, no matter what I'm doing, nothing but number one, and that's it. Like I say, I'm not here to be the token kickboxer who if you don't get taken down, maybe you can do it. I'm here to be world champion, and I'm set on that goal. And I won't stop until I achieve that goal, or, you know, time runs out. But regardless, relentlessly chasing that same path, and I'm excited for it. Yeah, the benefits of being in a league is, like I say, the traditional route of fights is almost you just get a date, then you're out of camp, and then you're waiting for another date. You're almost like in limbo, and it's like you're keeping yourself at a certain baseline and then trying to increase and ramp it up for the fight. If you understand the schedule that you're on, when you're fighting, who you're fighting, like, you can control all of your conditioning, your strength work, your nutrition, your weight. And then the benefit of it is, once the league is over, you know how much time you have until it's round again. It's not, you just randomly get a call, get in shape, or something like that, you know. There's a lot of structure, and it only benefits the athlete, because you can even have downtime, you know. You can even have some time where you let your body rest. There's a lot of times, because you're just waiting for a date, you don't want your body to rest, because if you're outside of the gym and you get a call, you just don't want to be in that position. You always want to be fit, but at some point your body's going to need to rest. So allowing a league and a schedule, yeah, it's a great position to rest, come back in stronger, fitter, faster, have time to increase your skill set. I think it only benefits the whole sport, something like that, you know. Strategy is huge. Like, understanding strategy, knowing who you're going to fight. Like, there's not only a physical aspect of fighting where it's me against you, and there is a test of will and a test of skill and things like that, but strategy plays a huge part. And if you have two fighters who know are going to fight each other, or you understand the skill set of the people in the tournament, you can develop strategies, and it's almost like a lot more of a strategic thing as you're going into these fights. And I really enjoy that aspect of bringing in the mental side and the studying and the strategy going into it, as opposed to just getting a day and fighting will and skill one for one, you know.
Let's just go back to the combo that we did on Saturday. Do you remember it? So we're going to fake a jab, we're going to hit a jab, then we're going to fake a jab and go low kick. Right? Then we're going to fake a low kick, and we're going to go hook and a low kick again. Yeah? So again, hit me with the jab, bam. I respond to the jab and eat the low kick. I respond to the low kick, eat the left hook and then the low kick. The reason why I like this is because, especially if I've got someone who's got good low kick defense, if I throw a low kick and he blocks it, sometimes people are going to pick their leg up too high, right? We've seen that all the time. So if I feint and I see him pick his leg up really high, I'm going to go, okay, feint, hook, underneath and set the base leg out. But I can't do that unless I've set the timing and set the feint up. Does that make sense? Same combination again. You go to me, so hit with a jab, bam, got my respect. Eat the low kick. Ready for the low kick, eat the hook, eat the low kick. Breaking the rhythm. Does that make sense? Let's go back to that combination. 1, 2, 3.
The transition, like I say, I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to switch. So I would never conform to one style. Like, I spent a long time competing in kickboxing and Thai boxing, but if I was to adopt that Dutch style kickboxing or that Thai style kickboxing, I come onto a mat like this, I'm gonna get double-legged every second. So my thing was more never to adopt a style, but to take little bits from every style that I thought was the most successful, because every style has limitations and positives. So I thought instead of just accepting that this has this limitation, I would just blend in all different styles. And I feel like that is what makes the style transition a lot more easier to MMA, like being able to transition the footwork, a lower base, and things of that nature. So the switch over for striking, I think, is going to be good. And like I say, MMA-wise, I've done jiu-jitsu and wrestling all the way throughout the kickboxing career. So the transition is never like, I think if you come from predominantly just striking and you transition, it's going to be a big wake-up call when you come into the jits world and the wrestling and trying to stand up. It's going to be like a big shock. But I've always had my foot inside of it, doing 1 session a week, 2 sessions a week throughout the years. So the transition has been pretty steady, you know. It's just certain aspects and certain disciplines have just been increased as opposed to like a 360 switch, you know. And I've always had a love for jiu-jitsu. I've always enjoyed wrestling. So I'm enjoying the transition. The difficult is, I don't know, like I say, it's a passion, so none of it's hard. I don't think the training, any of it, is too difficult because this is my passion and I just love being on the mat and learning, you know.
I'm also working on the proviso that I'm working at a faster rate than he is. Because as I've done this, bang, here, I'm going straight away as he's turning into that knee. Now the purpose of the cross, someone tell me why I'm throwing the cross first. Blind him, exactly. This is the headshot dead gym, right? Everyone knows what we're doing here with that. We're doing the same thing. I'm putting this hand out there because that's going to blind him and that's going to open that liver target underneath his body. Make sense? So jab to low kick, cross to knee. Make sense? Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
So the mental side, I believe, is the biggest part, and not even like 60-40, like 90% to 10, maybe even higher, because if you can't control the head, no matter what you have built skill set wise, game plan wise, it all goes out the window. Like I've seen throughout the years, I've spent a long time coaching world-class athletes just not be able to pull the trigger on the night. Under the lights, something just goes and they can't perform. And they're phenomenal athletes. So I understood at an early age that understanding and controlling the mental aspect is going to be the biggest trigger. So I spent a long time studying things like sports psychology, watching other athletes at the top level, how they control their head, because you understand that controls everything. And yeah, studying all different kind of things, because I know that's what's going to help progress. And when you study the greats in all aspects, they always have a like killer mindset, stellar mindset, super composed and all of these things. So to me, that was almost like one of the biggest things for me to train throughout the years. I mean, even in my very first fight, I remember not knowing what was going on, scared to walk out, got into the ring, had a scrap, threw it around. At the end of the fight, I didn't even know what happened. It was almost like a blur, like I blinked and it was over. And I didn't know how I performed, I didn't know what I was setting up, and I thought, if I want to do this for a career, I can't just hope. For me, going into a fight like that was just, hopefully it works out. I think there's a way of controlling all the controllables into that thing. So from that journey, I started transitioning over to understanding all that. And now the composure that you can keep inside of the ring is almost like a skill set and a discipline in itself, you know? So I think it's huge, man. Like, I think it controls everything.
This is the headshot dead gym, right? Leon, where are you?
Correct.
Right. Your head kick landed because Usman was slipping the cross, right?
Yeah.
So you fed him one thing and you punished him with another, right? One of my favourite things to do, that's exactly what we're doing. But that principle extends across all of martial arts. From striking to grappling to clinch work to everything. You sell them one thing and then you give them something else. Does that make sense? So in this scenario, in this scenario, we're doing that same combination that we've just done. In fact, go back. So combination we've just done. Here, 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 ha, bam. right? Simple combination. If I then have someone that switches to southpaw, and for all you amateurs in here, you're going to be the generation that deals with every motherfucker switching stance. So if you only train one stance, you're only half a fighter. So let's get working both sides, yes? A lot of the fighters now, the best ones you'll see, they'll have that switch in their stance. It's almost like MMA's moved along, and if you don't have that piece, you're going to get left behind, yeah? So, same combination from orthodox against southpaw. I'm going to throw my jab to the lead hand, but I'm not coming down now. I'm coming up because I'm on the inside leg. Bam. Then I'm going to go cross. This time I'm coming down. Make sense? Now you'll notice I've pulled myself to southpaw. So I've got a couple of options here, right? I can either go cross, kick. I can either go jab, low kick. I can go here. There are so many different pieces that you can fit there. But what I want you to think about is I'm trying to sell my opponent one thing and give them something else. Does that make sense? We're going to do one striking combination, super simple boxing, then we're going to get live rounds. Yeah? Orthodox form. So, I'm going to go jab. I'm going to pump a jab and touch with a hook. I'm going to touch a hook and pump with the cross. Yes? I'm going to touch with the jab. I'm going to feint the jab and touch with the hook. I'm going to feint the hook and touch with the cross. Super, super simple. But I'm opening that middle channel. And if you want an example, Chuck the Del Tito Ortiz. Tito stands against the fence doing his crazy monkey defense, and Chuck goes, BAM! Right down the pipe. The reason was because Chuck's hands went, because he threw the hook. Yes? Super simple. Jab, feint jab, hook, feint hook, cross. Nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, go!
Over the last 3 to 4 years, I've had a big switch in the way that I conduct my diet and things like that. And it wasn't always like that. I used to almost be quite heavy out of camps, and not through a lack of discipline, just being able to get away with making the weight while being heavier when I was younger and stuff. But then you almost realize, like I talk about, everybody who's a professional fighter has got here because of a love of training originally. So the training part is, to me, is not really discipline because everybody loves it. So that's not hard. Every professional fighter, whatever sport it is, they're going to love the training aspect. Discipline actually comes from the things outside of the sport, the harder things, the diet, the sleep, the avoiding the clubs and all that kind of stuff, you know. That's real discipline. And when I was going all into this thing, I was thinking, what am I lacking and what am I not disciplining myself in? Because I just think, okay, I train 2-3 times a day, 6 times a week, I'm disciplined. Well, no, you're just doing things that you enjoy. It's when nobody's around, what are you consuming? Are you studying? Are you taking all the progressions that you can? It's like if somebody held a gun to your head and was like, do every single thing that you can do to get to the top, there was little things where you'd be like, okay, maybe I'm not doing this, maybe I'm not doing that, there's extra things I could do. And for the next however long my career is, I want to make sure I'm dialing in every single aspect that I can so there's no regret when I come to the end of the career, you know. And then the advantages that I think has from it, I think, yeah, it's had a tremendous turn. Like when I was eating not great, I had a baseline of what I thought would feel good, and I was like, I can get away with training, eating this, not sleeping properly, because this was my baseline. But as soon as I changed over that for a couple of years, I realized that is just a terrible position to be in. Now I feel a lot more elevated, I feel a lot more alert in training, I've got more energy. All that translates into training so much more, just being disciplined in the little things, you know.
So I'm going to throw a jab, and Ben's going to catch it, and he's going to counter with his own jab. Simple catch-counter. Now, if I'm sparring with someone that's got a good catch-counter on my jab, what I'm watching for is the placement of this back hand. When I throw my jab, I have someone that really reaches for that, then I've opened up this target for myself, right? So I'm trying to pull this hand away from his chin so I can come around the side. He won't let me. His defense is too sharp. But think about this, right? If I'm standing close to him and I'm hitting him with a jab, he doesn't need to bring his hand away from his face because I'm bringing it to him. But if I move away here and start throwing it long, he's going to start reaching more with that, right? Now it does one of two things. It goes from his hand being a long shield on one side So being quite narrow, it's opening here and here. Does that make sense? So the reason why I'm using my fake jab is to open that doorway for myself. Yes? We're gonna add one more thing onto it. The tires have just done this, so I know you're gonna fucking nail it. Canelo, just did it. So we're gonna go jab, fake jab, hook, long hook, cross, cross, body shot. Now, I'll make this super quick. When Canelo's doing this, because of the big gloves, Canelo does that. Because as soon as the punch has gone there, they don't know where it's going, because they're covering their own eyes. In MMA, we've got to be a bit smarter. So in MMA, I still want this to be a believable cross. Does that make sense? Same thing, I'm crossing, I'm loading my lead leg, I'm loading my body, and then I'm going into the body when I know it's open. Yes? Jab, fake jab, hook, long hook, cross. Give him the cross and give him the body shot. Yeah? Any questions? Good, 1, 2, 3, let's go.
I think coaching complements the sport. If you're able to dissect something and teach it, you have to have a complete understanding of the thing that you're teaching. And I've taught from professional level all the way down to kids. And being able to break it down and teach it to a 4-year-old, I think is just as important as being able to teach it to a professional. If I can converse with a professional, it's okay because we've both been in this field for years, so you can almost have a language without speaking. Teach that to a 4-year-old, you need to be able to understand every detail in the tiniest bit, you know. And yeah, the love of coaching is the passion that I've found. I just want to pass it on to everybody else, so you know, that are interested in that same field, and almost be the coach that you would want around you as you're coming up the ranks yourself, you know, or you're interested in the sport yourself. But the value in being able to break something down and coach it, I think adds a tremendous part to actually understanding the technique and being able to commit and do the technique itself. You know, you understand all parts of it to be able to teach it. So I think, yeah, it's a great way to increase the skill set. So that was almost one way, was I wanted to get into that field to be able to increase the knowledge and force myself to study certain things. And then also, again, just the passion of it, you know. The academy, yeah, so I started that about 4 years ago. And the reason that I started that was to be a platform that people can experience world-class coaching anywhere, and it's affordable. So if you're in any position, say you don't have much money, you can still access world-class coaching. You're in a position where there's no gyms around, okay, you can still access world-class coaching. And I just wanted to bridge the gap as much as I could in my own personal way, where people can have access to, yeah, the elite part of striking, nutrition, strength and conditioning, psychology, everything. So yeah, everybody has a chance of experiencing and developing and getting a foot in the door to this sport as much as they can from my side, you know.